Hello, everyone. Jamie Cooper here with Cannabis Connection, and today I am joined by Michael Silver of Pinnacle Emporium. How are you, Michael?
I'm doing great, Jamie. Thanks a lot.
It's great to have you here. So before we go into, learning more about your company, tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
You bet. So my background is in healthcare. I've been a physician for about 21 years and, expanded a footprint in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. I'm originally from New York. Grew a brand in North Carolina of healthcare clinics. Little by little, kind of backed away from the day-to-day and got more into the administrative role and consulting role in healthcare, which freed me up to be able to move into start a gaming business, which I did. And that led me to move to Las Vegas. And in a strange and circuitous kind of path, landed on table game design and development, took a game to basically the only table games competition in the country here in Las Vegas in last November, and we won Best New Table Game with Ricochet Poker. That's now on floors here in Vegas and getting ready to expand into other states and actually other countries as well. But when I moved here, I was my neighbor. When I moved here to Las Vegas, my wife and I, both physicians, our neighbors, we became quite friendly with Mr. Eric Watkins and Jessica Watkins. And Eric has been in the cannabis space for a very long time. And I guess, sort of the rest is history.
That's really cool. Quite a background, serial entrepreneur too. So tell us a little bit about Pinnacle Emporium and where you see yourself, in the future and where you plan to take the company.
You bet. So, this past, I guess, few months have been slightly challenging. I think, we didn't have COVID-19 in our plans, nor did anybody. But, over the last year and a half to 2 years, we have built a team we're very proud of. And, we were able to overcome that from our compliance and security arms to our legal team, to our marketing team, our creative team. And, what we've done is, we were able to implement curbside and delivery and overcome the challenges that COVID. We really took this time to pave, kind of map out a more specific pipeline as to what Pinnacle is going to do in terms of our rollout. Eric and I got together, Eric Watkins and I got together, a few years back on this. And it's what started as sort of just a discussion amongst friends and over a drink started to become reality as I dove into the economics of the whole process and the business behind it, and was really intrigued not only by the cannabis business, but also the state of Michigan and the market timing and the market position. Eric moved to Michigan. I visited him with a frequency that I think his wife was probably less than endeared to, but I'm kidding. But, we spent quite a bit of time together in the state and came to really enjoy the state and started working on collecting assets, so to speak, on the retail side as well as on the vertical side, to put Pinnacle, in a totally different place and take the stigma away, which I know there's pioneers in this space that have helped pave the way of kind of bringing you out of the basement and up to the first floor where you don't have to hide anymore and you can enjoy cannabis the way it's supposed to be enjoyed and used as, medicinally.
Absolutely. And it's always great to have somebody from the healthcare industry join us. Sometimes that feels like it can be a struggle because they're, out there's been a lot of doctors that speak against it. And so it's great to have you a part of this burgeoning industry. So what's unique about your strategy to harness a piece of that market share here in Michigan?
Well, great question. I think there's a lot of different factors, and I reference our team. We're a hard driving team. We work till we have to work till, and it's a very dynamic and fluid industry that, you're only sort of encumbered by your creativity. So, we have open minds, we have hard workers, we have a work ethic that we believe is sort of second to none. And we have put our creativity, our brand, and the path we've taken with our brand to be unique, fun, and operate with purpose on all things that we do, doing things right 100% of the time. And then, sort of that allows for things to be fun. But our main goal is to keep the fun in cannabis. And as we watch other states, like, I don't want to necessarily pinpoint other states, but it's sort of become more of a sterile environment. And that's exactly the opposite of how we've taken this on. You'll find our stores offer a very unique customer service experience. You'll have a mini museum in each lobby, each showroom. The decor, the patient and customer engagement is real. And we pride ourselves on the knowledge that we bring to the table in the cannabis space, but also, how inviting the inviting properties, how inviting our stores are and will be as we roll more out. We are creating destinations, so to speak, and I hate to use that as a cliche, but when you see the different properties we have in our portfolio, you get it. We're not just bringing people in to shop and leave. We're bringing people in to shop, learn, stay, get a bite to eat, maybe sit by a lake, food trucks, you name it, drop a line in a pond and catch fish. We're giving people a place because, for instance, in our Morenci store, people travel from a good ways, and we like to give them a reason to stick around, spend some money in town, help the local economy as well.
Absolutely. It seems like you really offer a very memorable experience to those that visit your store.
We like to think so. We feel good about the concept we've put out. We have a creative director in the mix, in Daniel Potenza. He's done a tremendous job with really kind of bringing to life the vision we have for Pinnacle. And you'll see that in our lobbies and showrooms, and probably in any conventions we cross paths in. And then from there to my wife, Dr. Jody Silver, on the culinary side. There's more to cannabis that really hasn't been explored yet, and we are getting ready to getting ready to launch a processing kitchen as well. And, our initial rollouts will be just a limited product selection, but we feel there's more to it than just edibles. There's ways to incorporate medicinal qualities and culinary qualities to the cannabis offerings that we can then put on our shelves as well as others in the state.
That's great. So with you being involved in other industries and having run businesses in other industries, how do you feel your journey was in starting your business in the cannabis industry here?
Very different on a lot of levels. This is easily the most dynamic industry I've ever been involved with. I started actually in minor league baseball back in the early 90s. And, you deal with a lot of from an ownership standpoint, it was a family business. And you deal with a lot of the city council. I mean, in some of the state, with the stadiums and the relationships you have, it's spot on with cannabis. We pride ourselves in the relationships we have with the mayors, the city managers, the city council, what we give back to the schools, to the communities, to the chambers of commerce, fire departments, police departments. It's a big part of our mission and vision for Pinnacle. But when you take it a step further and look at how quickly it changes, I've never had to act so quickly on anything in my life, quite frankly. You get a call for an opportunity. If you don't say yes, that opportunity is probably going to look a lot worse going than it did coming. So you have to be nimble. You have to be prepared, and you have to be ready to act quickly and not necessarily unfortunately have the time to do as much due diligence as you might like to. But it's a bit of a moving target, but at the same time, it is easily the most fun I've had in business. And I know, Eric Watkins, my partner, co-founder, who's has been in this industry for 25 years, comes in from California, and we've got, a bunch of talent from the West Coast that bring that with them. And quite frankly, add a tremendous dynamic to the Pinnacle process. But when it comes to the amount of fun you can have, like I said, it's just a matter of creativity. And some of the deals we've been involved with and some of the projects we're involved with are it's just literally a matter of letting your mind go kind of wild and coming back to a place that makes a lot of sense, that works. But, just without losing sight, the numbers are astronomical in general, but without losing sight of the fun aspect, it's definitely a totally different industry. But on the healthcare side, the compliance piece is there. And, as a healthcare provider, compliance was number two, beyond do no harm. In cannabis, compliance is number one. And, we are not, I hate to say it, but we are not really in the cannabis space. We are in the compliance space with cannabis as sort of the widget. But we do, I will say that it's definitely unique business endeavor, but more fun than I've ever had, but also more time consuming than anything else I've ever done. So, I'm in Michigan about every 2 weeks. So
Right.
Coming from Vegas, it's a bit of a tricky travel schedule.
I can only imagine. And it's an industry that's constantly changing, you got to be willing to like adventure, because it's rapidly changing, and sometimes you're just flying by the seat of your pants. But it seems like you guys are doing really great. And so how do you plan to make Pinnacle a reliable and trusting brand in the cannabis space in Michigan?
Sure. Basically, it's the way I look at it is the state has regulations, right? We follow those regulations to the word, to the letter, I should say. When it comes to product, if that's where we're going with this in terms of trusted, we are a state licensed company, and we operate by a specific set of rules that the state provides. We don't sway from those rules. There's no gray area. It's black and white, and that's where we live, in that space. It's straight down the middle. My wife handles a significant amount of our product procurement, the relationships within the supply chain. We like to work with only the more trusted and reliable groups in the state. We are always open to exploring new relationships, but we tend to, dip our toe in with certain product lines, only go back to what we find our staff and most importantly, our management team responds well to, as well as our customer base. We put a lot of emphasis on customer feedback. And we also put heavy emphasis on making sure our staff is knowledgeable as to what products we have in store. We like to provide them with the opportunity to sample and provide feedback on these things, and not go back to any products and not bring any products into our stores that aren't basically certified at the highest level. In addition, we are rolling out a cultivation cultivation and processing facility within the next 6 months. Again, Eric has been in the cultivation space for 25 years, very well respected in that community, and we feel very strongly about the products and the product that we will be bringing to market on that front. And we will be utilizing only the best of the best when it comes to water treatment, irrigation, nutrients, organic grow processes, ingredients. For instance, in our processing pieces, you won't find synthetic ingredients in processed ingredients, or at least as few as possible. We'll be using from coming from the medical angle, which is, an angle we feel very strongly about. There's so much more that can be done in this space when it comes to edibles and tinctures and oils and creating those in a way that the process is as clean as it can be. There's no interruption from that cycle that includes anything from the outside. There's no pesticides in our in treatment of plants. It's a 100% clean environment with recycled nutrients, recycled water, and the best of the best in every aspect we can bring to the table on actual production of product.
What do you think your business will look like 3 years from now?
So 3 years is definitely it's a monstrous question, but I can tell you in 6 months we have 5 more retail shops in our pipeline. We have 1 open now currently. Within 30 days we'll be opening our 2nd, and we're very excited about that property. It's coming along terrific. It's going to be a very cool shop. It's we feel like it's bringing a lot to the village we're in as well, in Addison over by Devil's Lake in Michigan. We have 5 more stores in the pipeline by the first of the year. We hope to meet that deadline, but if not, by Q1, middle of Q1, we should have 6 total stores, along with a cultivation and processing, large scale, state of the art cultivation facility, and a processing kitchen as well. 3 years down the road, we'd like to expand our footprint even greater, potentially double our footprint in Michigan, and look toward other states. We have 2 particular states earmarked for this company to expand into, and likely kind of focus more on the cultivation side in those states, but likely add a handful of retail for brand awareness and so forth. So 3 years from now, if I'm still standing, that's what it looks like. But most importantly, we really want to establish our brand. We feel really good about what we're putting out. Pinnacle Emporium is a fun place to go visit. It's got all the connotations of it. You kind of follow the red door, so to speak, and come on inside and check it out. We like to carry an extensive line of products, so we're not limited. We know there's a number of groups that kind of keep a very sort of tight rein on that. We're in the exact opposite direction. But in a nutshell, I think that's what Pinnacle looks like. And we add the refinery and the farms to that in the next 6 months. So we're excited about the product rollout as well. So phase 1 will be a handful of edibles, and there'll be a couple of things that aren't in the marketplace now at all in Michigan, and potentially even in the country. And we plan to introduce those. Let's just call it a different way to wake and bake, so to speak, as well as some different processes on the medicinal side, and then expand more into that culinary side. And we expect to put a pretty significant stamp on the cannabis community from a culinary standpoint over the course of the next 3 years.
Well, a huge congrats to you and your team, Dr. Michael Silver with Pinnacle Emporium. Thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having us. And, again, I want to emphasize how important we have found having the right team around us to be, and then creating, a situation it's not just a shop that's a stark and sterile environment. It's a hands-on interactive experience where all types of consumers, can engage in an offering that's a bit unique to the industry, and keeping the fun in cannabis. And it really starts the second you walk through the door. And appreciate you having me, Jamie.
Thank you so much. Everyone have a great day.